Hi, I'm Dr. Brian Rini from Vanderbilt University and Vanderbilt-Ingram Cancer Center, and it's my pleasure to do this OncoAlert recap for the top highlights at ESMO 2025. I think probably the top highlight and the only phase 3 I'm aware of in kidney cancer was the RAMPART study that James Larkin presented. This is the UK study of observation versus durvalumab versus durva-tremi, CTLA-4 inhibitor in high-risk resected kidney cancer, and is really sort of the last chapter of the adjuvant immune therapy story in kidney cancer, the next chapter maybe I should say. And what was shown was a benefit in disease-free survival for the whole cohort, but that really was clearly driven by high-risk patients as defined by the Leibovitz score. So I think these data add to the story in kidney cancer that adjuvant immune therapy can have benefit. The only other CTLA-4 containing study, Checkmate with Ipi/Nivo, did not show benefit for unclear reasons. So, it introduces some certainty and also some uncertainty. We don't know the durvalumab alone arm. And so whether or not that will be positive, I think would have great impact, as that's a PD-L1 inhibitor. And the adjuvant Atezo, the other PD-L1 inhibitor, was negative. There were some toxic deaths, so whether or not CTLA-4 inhibition is necessary or provides additional benefit on top of PD-1, PD-L1 alone, I don't think is proven yet. But really interesting data, really important investigator-initiated trial led by the UK over many, many years to come to fruition. So congrats to the investigators. I think another highlight was Cristina Suarez-Rodriguez's presentation of the Merck, what we call the umbrella study, the O3A study, I believe was basically a frontline study of metastatic clear cell using len-pembro as a control, and then comparing it against a series of triplets, len-pembro belzutifan, len-pembro CTLA-4 inhibitor, len-pembro LAG-3 inhibitor, and then a pembro belzu TIGIT inhibitor. Small randomized trial, 60 to 80 patients per arm. The len-pembro arm did really well with an 80% response rate and a 2-year PFS, much as we'd expect from the clear, but held up. The most interesting arm was really the len-pembro belzu, which had a response rate in the high 70s, so about the same as the control arm, but a PFS that was longer by about 6 months with a hazard ratio, I think in the 0.5 range. Small randomized trial, hard to make definitive conclusions, but I think the most exciting thing is that this is an arm of the 012 trial, which is a large phase 3 of len-pembro versus that triplet versus a CTLA-4 containing triplet. And I think it gave us hope that that trial could be positive, at least for PFS. Whether it's positive for the more important endpoint of OS, obviously we'll await the data, but at least gave us a signal that combination therapy and triplet therapy could be a benefit in kidney cancer. This wasn't the case in the first attempt with Cosmic, but that was limited by toxicity. Belzutifan obviously very well tolerated and combinable. So I think we're about to enter a new era of combination therapy in kidney cancer, both in the frontline triplet and also in the second line doublet. There was another interesting abstract Andrew Hahn presented of len-everolimus versus Cabo with benefits. We just actually heard this morning of a press release of the len-belzu versus Cabo 011 trial. So again, I think we're about to launch into this new era of combination therapy in kidney cancer as we await new mechanisms which are sorely needed. And then lastly, I'll mention our own OPTIC study that Scott Hake presented, which was a biomarker-directed study enriching for, in the cohort we reported, the angiogenic phenotype based on the Emotion 151 clusters. 27 patients treated, 25 evaluable frontline kidney cancer, enriched by RNA sequencing of metastatic tissue for an angiogenic genotype/phenotype, and allocated to receive Cabo-Nivo with a 76% response rate, 100% of patients having tumor shrinkage, and no patients having primary progressive disease. Difficult trial to do, and I think perhaps the most important point is that operationally this is feasible. We need to biopsy metastatic tissue if we're allocating or assigning treatment based on gene expression of tissue. It needs to be metastatic tissue. And if we really want to develop biomarkers in kidney cancer, we need to do this hard prospective work. This took us 4 years and a couple $1 million in grants to get off the ground and execute. There's another arm of Ipi/Nivo we didn't report because it's not accrued yet, but I think we're hopefully going to finally start to see some forward progress for biomarker-based therapy in kidney cancer. So all in all, I think a pretty exciting ESMO, a lot of interesting phase 2 data, one phase 3, and we certainly look forward to more advances to come. Thanks.